What is up, guys? Welcome back. I'm Kevin Crates. This is the channel where we go over a bit of crypto news followed by 5 charts every day. Today we'll be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Sol, MATIC, and AXS. And as always, if you're just here for a specific chart, timestamps are down in the description below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn that bell on so you get notifications for all daily uploads. The market is rough today, guys. Bitcoin hanging around 31,000, Ethereum just hanging on to 1,900, and it is just red everywhere in the market today. A few NFT plays having a bit of a pump in the last 24 hours. Sand had a great run. Alice, I think, is still pumping at the moment. Chili's having a bit of a 10% pump. I don't think that's going to last because all of this is related to Axie Infinity pushing close to around $30 and pulling back to around 24 now. But that is still huge considering where Axie Infinity was about a couple weeks ago. And that is just dictating the NFT pump across the market. Jumping into some news, we have this article from today. Displaced Bitcoin miners thwarted by data center crunch amid China crackdown. The article touched on some of the Bitcoin mining relocation struggles that are going on, saying getting the needed materials such as electrical transformers and switches has been complicated by disruptions in the global supply chain. Strict regulations for tapping into power grids means build times that can drag on for years. The article quoted Meltem Demirors, chief strategy officer at CoinShare, saying, "Machines are no longer the bottleneck. Hosting facilities are. You can't just build a massive co-location data center in a few months." The article also touched on the fact that miners who are currently online and solving block rewards are collecting coins worth more than 3 times what they were a year ago. Zach Voll, director of research and content at Compass Mining, was quoted saying, "The people with machines online now are in for a treat. Chinese miners are not only scrambling to get back online, but now they're missing out on this huge economic incentive to mine." And this is something we all have to keep in mind, the fact that the Bitcoin mining relocation is going to take time. However, we can hang on to a bit of hope considering the fact that the higher financial incentive might speed that process up. We have Binance in the news again. Crypto exchange Binance unauthorized, says Italian regulator as crackdown widens. The article quotes, "Watchdogs in Thailand, Japan, Germany, and the United States have also targeted Binance in recent months. BaFin, the German regulator, said in April that Binance risks being fined for offering so-called stock tokens without publishing an investor's prospectus." And this is just more Binance regulatory news that we keep seeing headlines of, but Binance continues to seem unfazed, judging by this headline. Visa and MasterCard stick with Binance as regulatory scrutiny rises. Visa and MasterCard have left open key gateways between Binance and the financial system despite rising regulatory scrutiny on the cryptocurrency exchange that has prompted some banks and smaller payment companies to cut ties. Visa told Financial Times it was aware of the recent FCA statement regarding Binance and that it was in dialogue with Binance to monitor developments. MasterCard said, "We continue to monitor the situation, including how the exchanges fulfill their regulatory requirements." And in my opinion, Binance is going nowhere. They are so much more than just a crypto exchange at this point. They are building an empire. In between PancakeSwap, the Binance Smart Chain, and everything that Binance owns, they are just too much of a dominant player to disappear. Regulations will be an obstacle, but as far as I can see, Binance will continue to dominate for the years to come. We had some digital currency news again. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says cryptocurrencies and stablecoins won't be needed once the US has a digital currency. He was quoted saying, "We have a tradition in this country where the public's money is held in what's supposed to be a very safe asset. That doesn't exist for stablecoins, and if they're going to be a significant part of the payments universe, then we need an appropriate framework, which frankly we don't have." And we are seeing more headlines about countries wanting to get involved with their own digital currency, and it's still a question mark whether or not this is going to be good or bad for the crypto space. And in my opinion, this is great for the crypto space because at least the conversation has been started. Yes, it looks rough right now, but it's being had by people who don't understand cryptocurrency, let alone the blockchain. But with the start of the conversation, and yes, regulations will be a part of that, in the long run, I believe this will be great for the entire crypto space. We had some more crazy Axie Infinity news. NFT game creator flips Axie Infinity virtual land for 9,200% gain in 1 year. Illuvium co-founder Kieran Warwick has sold a virtual land plot in Axie Infinity for $28,000 after purchasing it last year for $300. He also tweeted, "I just sold a plot of land for $28,000 that I bought for $300. You think this isn't going to be a revolution? What happens when your kids ask for your cryptocurrency to play a game and comes back with bundles of cash?" And this is why I keep saying that NFTs and NFT gaming are going to be the front door for cryptocurrency mass adoption. And if you're not a gamer, let me break it down for you. Aside from the multi-billion-dollar industry that is the gaming industry, the stage for this has already been set in the last 5 years. Games like Fortnite, which are free to play with their opportunity to win money as well as host live events, has set the groundwork for the metaverse and the entire NFT play to earn space. And that is why I'm currently working on a video series for this channel where we will only focus on NFT projects and diving deep into them. So make sure you guys turn that bell on so you don't miss those videos. We have this last article here. New York Giants Saquon Barkley plans to convert endorsement revenue to Bitcoin. The article quoted, Barkley is not the only NFL player who has converted funds into Bitcoin, as the Carolina Panthers offensive lineman Russell Okung turned half of his salary into Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was nearing all-time highs, it was estimated that Okung was the highest paid player in the NFL. Other professional athletes are also looking into getting paid in cryptocurrencies, as a myriad of announcements has been made this year. It's always fun to see these headlines, and it's only a matter of time before we see more and more professional athletes and entertainers accept cryptocurrency as payment. Looking at Bitcoin's daily chart here, we can see that the RSI has been intensely invalidated off of that uptrend, so it really is a matter of time now before prices trend lower. On top of that, the stochastic RSI is very low, so I don't think this is the big crash just yet, because if you come to the 4-hour, stochastic RSI also low, and on the 1-hour, low and pressing up. So I'd imagine in the next 24 hours or day or so, we should see prices press back up in this direction. Maybe this price target of around 33.5, but in the coming days, I'd imagine price is most likely headed to around 30K to 28K, which are these price targets we've been talking about all week. If it manages to get above here, build some support, get above 34.3, it's possible that this could turn bullish, but the market's stuck in a downtrend. It's very clear that these lower price targets is most likely where it's headed. Let's just jump over to the Ichimoku chart. Looking at the Ichimoku chart, let's zoom in a little bit here and jump to the 4-hour and turn our notes back on from the previous days here. You can see that prices will most likely trend up to about this price target, 33.1, which is kind of what we talked about on the other chart around 33.5, and I said I don't think it'll get that high up. I think prices will kind of trend back up. It's well below the conversion line and baseline. It'll run into resistance around 32.7 where it might work its way back down, but 33, 33.5, somewhere around there, I would cap out a push. But overall price targets are still very low for Bitcoin. I'd imagine around 30K to 20K, but let's look at the weekly chart real quick. I wanted to look at the weekly chart again just to show you guys. And if you're new here, let me just explain that this is a very bearish setup. The baseline is above the conversion line. And as soon as that lagging span gets through, this is a very bearish setup. However, if we're looking for a bottom on this crash, I would imagine it may be somewhere around 28,000 where we may see a bit of a jump when something approaches the Kumo cloud. But we have to be aware that prices are headed this way. And as soon as it enters that cloud, there may be a drop to around 25,000. This won't happen immediately and it won't happen for sure, but it's something to keep in mind that prices are headed in a bearish direction. But as far as this current crash goes, this kind of lines up with my current price targets of around 30,000 to 28,000, which for the time being remain my mid to short term price targets for Bitcoin, are still around 30,000 and around 28,000. Looking at Ethereum's daily chart, let's turn our notes back on from the last few days. There is still not much for me to say about Ethereum. Ethereum is moving exactly as we've talked about. It's headed towards 1,700. Below that, I may set another price target depending on how crazy things get. If prices keep trending down, I would kind of look for this area around 1,500 potentially. But overall, if we jump over to the 4-hour chart, Ethereum is doing whatever Bitcoin says. If anything, it looks even worse. The stochastic RSI is kind of high on the 4 hours. On the 1 day, it is low. So just like Bitcoin, it is most likely going to hang out, maybe just consolidate in the area it's in. Let's look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour is trending back up. The 4 hour is high though. So yeah, I don't think it's going to get too much higher than this. Let's turn all these notes off. The 200 EMA is pretty much resistance now, which was our original price target of just under $2,000. But if you look here, I've got nothing new to say about Ethereum. It's headed to around 1,700 most likely. And then from there, I would kind of watch for this 1,500 area. If things get real crazy, 1,000 is possible, but we'll kind of leave that out of the discussion for now and just keep our focus on around 1,700 to potentially even 1,500. Let's just take a quick look at the Ichimoku cloud. Looking at Ethereum's daily, let's just turn our notes on from the other day, and I just don't have much new to say about Ethereum. Ethereum hit our first price target of just under 2,000, and it is most likely headed towards 1,700. If that doesn't hold, I would watch for 1,500. If it somehow manages to get above 2,000, it's going to run into so much resistance here around 2,200, and there is a mountain of resistance inside of this cloud. I did just want to show you guys the weekly for a moment. Let's turn these notes off. See how much more bullish Ethereum still looks than Bitcoin. We're not going to touch on this today, but we will be coming back to this in a future video. But for the time being, I just want you guys to focus on these price targets, or we'll be focusing on these price targets of around 1,700. If that goes, I'd look for 1,500. Looking at Solana on the daily now, you can see it's still trading well above the 200 EMA. Solana is such a bullish looking chart. If there is a crash, I will most definitely be picking up more Solana. So as far as price targets, looking at the old ones we talked about here, Solana on the low ends of this dipped around 18.7 and 19.8. I don't know how low Solana could go. I'd start looking around $25, but I imagine as Bitcoin starts approaching 30K, it'll probably be already around there. I've put this price target of around $22, which I do think is possible. So anywhere between, I'd say around $18 to $25 is where I will be looking for Solana to land. Let me just look at the Ichimoku chart real quick. Looking at the daily chart, if we turn our notes on, you can see my price targets for Solana are pretty much the same here as well. I would look somewhere between $18 to $25. If we look at the 4-hour chart, to be honest, $25 I think may be a bit high because it's already trending down there, and it's trending down there in a very healthy way. If you look at this chart, this is very much still in line with the baseline and the conversion line. So it looks like it'll come down here slowly, and as Bitcoin approaches 30 to 28K, it's going to hit this first price target potentially of around $25. So as far as price targets, I would look for potentially around that $22 that we spoke about on the other chart to be maybe an initial entry to start dollar cost averaging, but I would hope for Solana price targets to be much lower, somewhere around $20 for sure. Anywhere between 20 to 17 for Solana I think would be a great entry. My price targets for now are going to be around 22, 20, and 17 for Solana. Looking at MATIC's daily chart, still a very bullish looking chart, managing to stay above the 200 EMA. The stochastic RSI is low on the daily. It is kind of high on the 3-hour and the 4-hour. So I'd imagine prices will consolidate in this range, maybe push back up towards somewhere above $1. Probably not though, considering the state of the market. If there is a Bitcoin bounce, it is possible. But as far as price targets for MATIC go, let's just turn all of our notes back on, hop back to the daily. I would look for somewhere more in this range. I'd imagine 70 cents is going to get hit on this crash. That still is above the 200 EMA where we may see a bit of a bounce. If 70 cents goes, it is a pretty quick drop to about 56, but there is quite a bit of support in between 30 to 50 cents. I can't see MATIC staying down there for too long. It's already so oversold. Let's just hop over to the Ichimoku chart. MATIC on the Ichimoku, if we just turn my notes on, there's actually not much to be said because as this baseline starts to come down, that would cap out the push around 110, which we saw on the other chart as well. It's kind of being walked down by this conversion line here. If it manages to get a Bitcoin bounce, that is where it would probably run into resistance, so around 110, where it would work its way down. If there is a Bitcoin crash afterwards, around 70 cents, which is still above the 200 EMA. If things do get real crazy, MATIC could drop to around 50 cents because there is not a lot of support in that range, but MATIC has so much support between 30 and 50 cents, and it's already so oversold. I can't see that happening, or I can't see it staying down there too long. If it does, I'd imagine there would be a big bounce. My price targets for MATIC would be around 70 cents and then maybe somewhere in 50 if it drops below that, but I would imagine 70 cents will most likely hold for MATIC. Taking a look at AXS's daily chart, finally some downward pressure on one of these daily candles, but keep in mind this daily candle is still not closed. And if we take a look at our notes here, this still could pump. Let's jump over to the Ichimoku chart. Looking at the Ichimoku chart, I just want to turn the notes on to show you guys the stochastic RSI still has so much room to pump, which is crazy. But if we jump over to the 4-hour chart, stochastic RSI also low with room to pump. I imagine it's going to pull back, which it already is, to around the baseline here, which is just around $23. If $23 doesn't hold and it doesn't bounce and keep going from there, which is always possible, I kind of look back at the daily chart and I'd imagine it's finally going to pull down to the conversion line, maybe around $21 because it's already pulled up kind of high, somewhere around there, around 21. If that doesn't hold, I'd watch for the baseline around 18. But keep in mind, buying into anything at these high prices, there's always a risk, but AXS's chart still looks amazing. So as far as price targets, I'd look for 23 and a potential bounce, if not there, around $21 to $18. All right, folks, that's all for today. If there's any charts you want me to look at in the future, leave it down in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn that bell on so you get those notifications. If you're not following me on Twitter, KevinCrates_ on Twitter. I'm extremely active on there. Anytime you guys tweet at me, I will always tweet back at you. I hope you all have a great day. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm out.